Eric, thank you very much for your time. Brilliant to speak with you. It was a brilliant show on Saturday night down in Bournemouth. Just tell us how it was watching it from where you saw it.
Unfortunately, I couldn't be there because I had terrible flu. But it was as you say, a brilliant show. The atmosphere came across really well supported by all the fans, and our hero, young Ryan. I mean, that was a classic performance. He boxed so well against a really good, unbeaten, tough opponent, and he's put himself well up there to fight for a world title before the end of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, the intensity it came with, just from the first bell to the final bell, it's some gas tank on him, right? Just to sustain that pressure. And personally, I didn't give Jimenez around. I thought Ryan took all of them, and the judges saw it that way too. Is that how you saw it?
It did, but it still didn't reflect what Jimenez brought because he obviously come to fight. As I said, he was undefeated and he was there all the time. But Ryan outboxed him, and it was a really brilliant performance. And I'm pleased for him, and I'm pleased for Wayne Batten, his manager and trainer. You know, it's well documented. He's had a few problems in the past, and he's come through them, and he's shown what he's all about. And in Southampton have a star there. He is a star. Britain has a star. He's a quality fighter. And I want to deliver for him what his dream is, and that's to put a world title fight on at St Mary's.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that, but I did just want to touch on what you were saying about how he's had some, troubles in his past, and he's always saying, thanks to you for sticking with me and the backing that you've always given him. Are you able to give us some insight into some of the kind of, conversations you've had to have with him? And was there ever a moment when you thought you would maybe have to give up on him?
No, I wouldn't. I didn't feel I would give up on him. I mean, for me, since he signed with us all the years ago, um, I always thought he was a precocious talent. I thought he was a great fighter, or potential to be a great fighter. And all the times he spent going around the country sparring with some of the top guys, and the reports back were always top notch. Um, it happens with young guys sometimes, in all sports, not just boxing, in life. And unfortunately, I think some of the people, and they're probably good, really good friends, but your friends got to realise that when you're a boxer, you've got to lead a different life to the life that they're leading as young men. Boxing is about 100% commitment, dedication. You can only go so far on natural talent. And he was losing his dedication, but he's turned himself around. He's matured. He's settled down. He's got a couple of kids now, a partner, and they seem very, very happy. He's got some direction in his life, and it's nice to see that happen for somebody. That you feel that your faith in them is justified.
Mm. And I mean, the talk now already is kind of what comes next. I asked Ryan after his fight, and he said he loved it down there at the International Centre, potentially could come back there and defend his European title again. Is there something that you have in mind you think might come next for
Oh,
Ryan
we'll
immediately?
look. We'll make a world title fight. That will happen, but in the meantime, he's got to be kept busy, and that's his home. That venue was brilliant. Working with the people there was fantastic. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's just a shame it's not bigger.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the talk of the world title fight, and I know that Steve Bunce kind of said afterwards on the broadcast that he felt that give him a few more 12 rounders because I mean, believe it or not, that was his first
First
professional
one,
12
yeah.
round fight, right? So do you think it is just a case of getting a few more 12 rounders under his belt, test him a few more times before putting him on the world stage?
Yeah, it just needs a bit more experience. Every time a fighter fights at that level, they're learning. And it's not just what they're doing in the ring, it's what they're doing outside the ring, in the gym, the sparring and the moves that on the bag and being coached. All those things that they're all experiences. They're all in the bag for you. They're things you can call upon when you get into those tough moments in fights. And a couple more fights, he'll be there. He'll be ready to go. Look, it's happening now, so that's great. It could have happened sooner had we not had a few of the hiccups on the way. But look, he's a young man still. He's a young man, and he's very, very capable. And I genuinely believe he can be a world champion.
One of the names that he did mention after the fight was potentially Reece Belotti. He said, "I'm not one to call someone out, but that is, a good matchup. He's got the British and Commonwealth titles." He said, "Oh, get a little 5v5 on me against Reece Belotti, on Matchroom versus Queensbury." Do you see that as a good matchup personally?
I do. I like that fight for him. I think that's a good fight for him, and be a good fight for the fans to watch. We'll obviously speak to our counterparts at Matchroom and see if we can do that.
Yeah, I mean the two have got tremendous engines, so I think just from a boxing fan point of
Yeah,
view,
yeah. I mean, you can imagine the pace that because that fight was fought at quite a high pace.
mm,
I mean, the tempo of the fight was that it moved on out was just brilliant. And
mm,
I think it'd be the same, especially when it's two Brits fighting each other. You know, it's going to be there's more of a needle, and if it's the two promotional companies as well, adds a bit more spice to it.
yeah, for sure. I know so much of the talk this week was about this is kind of testing the waters to see how Ryan does headlining his first show. I know that him and Wayne sold a bunch of tickets, and like you said, the atmosphere in there was really good. From your point of view of, how filled the arena was, and obviously his performance as well, how satisfied were you from that point of view?
Oh, very much, very much. With his performance, 10 out of 10, and as for his the supporters coming out for him and getting behind their local guys, unbelievable. Yeah, 20 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's just marvelous. It makes it easier, obviously, for us as promoters when you're filling a venue up, but it's also great for the atmosphere, and especially if you're on the show's on TV, it was on TNT, and for the fans at home, they get involved in that atmosphere, they can feel it, and it really did come across more so than in most shows in the last year or so. That's for sure.
Mm. And just a final one on Ryan. I don't want to put too much pressure on you from the question point of view, but when do you think we could see him back out this year?
I'd like to get him out sometime in the summer, early in the summer.
Sure. Okay. Brilliant. Well, we look forward to it. Also on the card, of course, Louis Edmondson defended his Commonwealth title against
Yeah.
Oluwatosin Kajawa. What did you make of Louis' performance? Of, fairly a decent test, but a fairly comfortable result for him on the cards in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, he boxed within himself and he did what he had to do, and it was good that he's got another notch on his belt. I want to see him in a big domestic fight now, and I'd like to see him with Edge Taylor. I think that for the both of them is a really good fight.
Yeah, I mean, all week they were going at it, weren't they? On the way in, the fight night. That build up would be quite fun, wouldn't it?
It would be good fun, and more importantly, be good. It'd be a good fight once they both get in the ring. There's
Yeah.
no, I'm not, there's no give or take with those two. It would be a good fight.
Mm. And it was unfortunate that Royston Barney Smith had to withdraw from this card. He said that there's still going to be another date locked in for him soon. Are you able to shed any light kind of on when you were hoping to see Royston back out?
Well, he had a burst eardrum, so that has to take a while to heal. And the problem with it is when you have a burst eardrum, you can't spar. So any preparation, I mean, if you get a hand injury, you can still get on the road, you can do various things. But with a burst eardrum, no sparring, so it's got to settle down before he can get back into the gym again, and then we'll lock down a date for him. It's a shame, really, because I was looking forward to seeing him down there. The atmosphere would have been brilliant for him. I mean, he's another absolute star, and he's doing everything that's been asked of him. Still a young man, but I really have high expectations of him as a fighter. So hopefully we can update you soon on that, and he'll be out again, and he'll certainly be fighting in the leisure. Sorry, in Bournemouth soon.
Yeah, and someone that did fight a bit earlier on in the card, Charles Franken from Berkshire. He's had a couple, 18 months out of the ring, I think it was, but he came back and he's still got that power. Do you think he said he wants to be busy this year, potentially get in the mix for some titles? Is he someone that you look at and think that you could have a big 2025?
Yeah, I mean he needs to be busy. I agree with what he's saying, and we got to get him out again and get him out soon, and let him now capitalize on the momentum. As you say, he's had a couple. Was it 18 months? What it was out the ring, and he's got the bit between his teeth. He's really keen to be out fighting on a more regular basis, and it's our job to make sure that happens.
And just a final one from the card on Saturday night. John Isaacs, of course, he's also in the gym with Wayne Batten and Ryan Garner. A second pro win for him, but he got knocked down in the process. I guess from your point of view, good to see the character to, get knocked down and come back in something as short as a four rounder.
It is. I mean, it happens, and it's how you respond to it, and he responded to it very well, and that's experience for him. Yes, early in your career, it's nice. Something I say nice, probably not nice to get knocked down, but he's tasted it, so it's experience. He knows what he's in. It's in a tough sport. As you say, second fight, and he'll learn from that. He's in with a good trainer in Wayne and manager, and I'm sure it'll stand him in good stead moving forward.
And just a final one, Frank, Mark Chamberlain, back again early next month in Manchester. What do you think this is now? I would guess, are we building up to potentially trying to get some momentum and get Mark back onto a world title shot at some point further down the line?
Oh, definitely. We need to do that. It's unfortunate he suffered that loss, but obviously, there was a problem with his weight. He's moved up, as you know now, to a higher weight division, and now he's got to go out and show what he's all about and re-establish himself. He's quite capable of doing that. I mean, there's some great talent, down on the South Coast, and he's one of the leading talents. And I expect him this year to box or challenge for a world title.
Do you feel like this has kind of come out of nowhere, these guys? You've got a bit of a resurgence from the South, who's never really had these huge stars, and now all of a sudden you've got all these names we just discussed that could potentially be stars in your stable.
Yeah, look, we're delighted, obviously, but the frustrating thing I think for the boys as well was that we didn't do shows down there. We talked about it and we should have done them earlier on, to be quite honest. But now we've seen there's a market, there's an appetite for it, and more importantly, the talents there. They're going to happen on a regular basis now. I mean, South Coast is hot spot for boxing. There's no doubt about that.